In ancient Rome, when tormentors branded an enslaved person with a hot iron, the scar left behind was called a stigma. During the Middle Ages, the pluralized version of the word became stigmata, used to describe the wounds left on Jesus' body by his crucifixion. By the 1600s, the words were used interchangeably to signify a mark of shame, deeply worn patterns of thinking so culturally ingrained that they can be hard to tease apart from rational thought. It turns into a given, then, that stigmatized people are branded and judged as beyond redemption, as ruined. Drug-addicted people often react to stigma by excluding themselves from public life. They do this in part because drugs feel good when the actual world doesn't. Drugs help them forget, set aside, and numb their feelings of shame in a looping effect that exacerbates the very behaviors society initially reproached them for. In this way, social death can become literal death. The Reverend Michelle Mathis was thinking of the time Jesus arrived to see his dear friend Lazarus, only to learn that he died 4 days before. Jesus would pull off the miracle of raising Lazarus from the dead, but first he needed to share his sorrow and grief with his friends, so together they wept. Then Jesus instructed his followers to roll away the stone from Lazarus' tomb, and he commanded Lazarus to come forth, telling the mourners to unbind him from his burial cloths. Jesus had already performed the miracle. Now it was up to the community to do the stinky, messy work of pulling the burial shroud off Lazarus. Mathis uses the story of Lazarus to help people check their blind spots. She tells the parable not to inspire miracle work, but to challenge people to take down barriers for those who can't do it themselves. As co-founder of Olive Branch Ministry, Mathis and her wife, Karen Lowe, created what they call the nation's only queer and biracial-founded harm reduction ministry. Based in the former furniture belt of western North Carolina, a state that lost more than 250,000 factory jobs in the wake of globalization, Olive Branch started out offering food and hygiene supplies to the region's homeless from the back of their cars in 2009. The operation has grown to include syringe services, counseling, and addiction triage in 10 counties. In her late 40s and with purple-tinted gray hair, though she uses other colors in rotation, Mathis has a flower tattoo on her forearm with the words acta non verba, which is Latin, she told me, for do shit, don't just talk about it. Mathis vowed to meet drug users where they are, physically, spiritually, and emotionally. But working in the heart of the Bible Belt, she also knew that she would have to build bridges before anyone could roll stones across them. She had to meet the rest of the community where it was, too, including the NIMBYs, not in my backyard, and the naysayers and the so-called caves, that's short for citizens against virtually everything. It was bridge building that allowed Olive Branch to operate 3 needle exchanges in one of the most conservative parts of the country, as well as to provide cutting-edge, low-barrier bupe and hepatitis treatment in collaboration with Tim Nolan, the nurse practitioner who worked nights from his Prius. It was Mathis who picks up the pizzas for Tim's Hep C gatherings, and it is peers from her office who manage patient intake and figure out the logistics of where and how they will meet Tim. He carries each patient's information in a manila envelope on the front seat of his car, their cell phone numbers sharpied on the front.